Warning, this video contains my opinions. If you don't like my opinion because it doesn't match up with your own, then deal with it and sod off. Hello there ladies and gentlemen, my name is TickleGames and today we're going on an epic adventure full of people, monsters, questing, dungeons, and pandas. That's right, it's time to take a look at Mists of Pandaria. Released September 25th, 2012, this is the fourth expansion in Blizzard's monolithic child, World of Warcraft, a game that needs no introduction. Mists of Pandaria takes place directly after the events of Cataclysm, the previous expansion, when the continent of Pandaria is discovered during a naval battle between the Horde and the Alliance. According to Warcraft lore, Pandaria has been shrouded in mist since the first Sundering 10,000 years ago, and now with the Horde and the Alliance on their land attempting to use their resources for their own gain, Pandarians must begin to pick sides if they hope to regain their peaceful lands. What sets this expansion apart from the previous ones is a lack of a true endgame goal. Burning Crusade had Illidan, or Kil'jaeden, whoever you prefer. Wrath of the Lich King had Arthas, Cataclysm had Deathwing. This game seems to lack an endgame currently, although Blizzard have said that this expansion is more focused on the war between the Horde and the Alliance, so we could possibly be seeing Garrosh as an endgame boss at some point. What a badass. I've been playing World of Warcraft for the past 6 years or so, and as a result I've developed a sick love for this game. So you have to bear in mind that this review is coming from someone who's been there and done that, and it's not a fresh-faced look at the game. At the time of writing, the game's been out for a little over a week, and I've had enough time to get to 90, see some of the higher-end content, and do all that good stuff. What I haven't done is go into the new raids, because quite frankly, I have other things to do in my life. Okay, this one's gonna hurt, but let's get it over with quickly. The pandas are pretty damn awesome. Considering all the flack Blizzard got for this expansion, I actually ate my words when I was playing it. The story and race are integrated beautifully, and this is not a joke. The new playable race start on the Wandering Isle, a giant turtle named Shen Zinsu. As you progress through the starting area, you begin to see different NPCs taking different sides on the war, and by the end of it, you are expected to make a decision as to which faction you're going to be supporting for the rest of your life. And that begins your adventure through all the bloody zones you've seen and done 1,000 times, until you can finally get to Pandaria. Yay. I found myself growing bored of all the Cataclysm areas. Everything felt a bit mundane and uneventful, and Bashir was just an absolute pain in the arse. Fortunately, that's not the case with Mists of Pandaria. The zones are amazing. The Asian theme is extremely apparent throughout most of the new areas and definitely adds to the experience. The architecture of the dungeons and the buildings helps to carry this right into your face, and is a nice change from all the death, fire and destruction that we had through Cataclysm. Along with the frankly amazing looking new zones, there's also the usual plethora of quests to keep you occupied throughout Pandaria, and for once they don't feel as monotonous and grindy and boring and soul crushing as they used to. On launch day I started playing at 8:30 in the morning, and the next thing I know it's 11 at night. So assuming I didn't slip into a questing coma and drool all over my keyboard, I had no idea that much time had passed. But yeah, the quests were actually enjoyable, and I didn't once feel like I was just moving from quest to quest, picking up 10 monkey bollocks and 15 gorilla brains. If you're going to be travelling around Pandaria, you want to do it in style, right? Of course you do. Mists offers a wide variety of new mounts, ranging from yaks to cloud serpents, and my personal favourite, the flying nymph, red flying disc. There's also the usual ridiculous, look how much spare money I've got mount. We interrupt this video to try and sell you stuff.
Hey, do you have lots of money? All the money? Then you'll love our new mount, the Grand Expedition Yak. Only 108,000 gold. It even has 2 seats for your friends and an umbrella. Buy now, beat the rush at Yickety Yak's Yak Shop. 108,000.
Yeah. But it's not just mounts that have been added and updated. New mob types and NPCs help add to the feeling that you're truly a world away from home. Giant bunny rabbits that want to kill you, monkeys that want to kill you, shadowy hellspawn that want to kill you. I'll stop here before my point becomes irrelevant. There's also the addition of the black market, where players bid on items listed by NPCs. So if you ever wanted the old tier 3 armour from Naxxramas, or perhaps the TCG mounts or pets, now's your chance. Quick warning though, items start at about 10 to 20,000 gold, and there's no buyout option. So just remember that before you go sinking 25k into a rare mount and then someone sweeps in and drops 60k on it. Does anybody remember the outdoor raid bosses that used to be in WoW? They were so much fun to run into as a rogue and gank all of the Alliance's healers. Well, want for this no longer because they're back. Currently there are 2 world bosses, Salis' Warband and the Shah of Anger, both of which require a 25-man raid group and decent coordination to kill. They also have pretty sizable loot tables containing gear, mounts and other such good things. To me, a WoW expansion isn't worthwhile unless there's something decent in it for the PvPer in me. And lo and behold there is, not 1, but 2 new battlegrounds. The first of which goes by the name of the Temple of Kotmogu. This is a 10v10 murder ball style battleground where each side competes for control over 4 orbs until the points reach 1600. Different parts of the map score differently for the orb carriers between 3 and 5. However, whilst holding one of these orbs you will start to stack a debuff, and while it does increase your damage output, it will also heavily increase the damage taken and reduce the healing taken. So don't expect to hold an orb indefinitely, unless you're Athene. The second battleground will feel very familiar to any of you TF2 players out there, as it's essentially a payload map in battleground form. The Silver Shard Mines. This requires each faction to fight over control of 3 minecarts by outnumbering the other faction. So basically if 5 alliances stood at the cart and 3 horde run up to it, it's still going to start moving towards the alliance's favour, until they all die. When your faction is controlling a cart, you gain resources, and when the cart reaches its destination, you'll be rewarded with a large boost in points similar to a flag cap in either storm. First to 1600 wins. Go, go, go. Now not everybody likes PvP, and that's fine, you're just a horrible person and you're wrong. Either way, there's plenty of PvE stuff for you to do. Specifically, there are 4 normal dungeons, 9 heroics, 5 raids, 7 scenarios, 9 challenges, and a metric ton of dailies for you to do for the numerous factions throughout Pandaria. So don't worry, there's going to be a lot for you to do when you hit level 90. Enjoy that one. One of the great things about the dungeons that I noticed, apart from the design, was that you had quests that sent you into a different version of the dungeon with NPCs to do various things, and I thought this helped generate a backstory and a reason for why you would go in there and kill everything with a pulse. Dungeons not your thing? Raiding not your thing? That's fine as well, because with the amount of new factions and bloody sub-factions, you'll have lots of dailies to do while all your friends are off pretending to be cool and getting fat loot. Maybe you want to get exalted with the Order of the Cloud Serpent so you can get one of the most badass looking mounts in this expansion. Or maybe you're a bit of a lore nerd and you want to see what the lore walkers can offer you. Or maybe you just want to do farming. That's actual, diggy farming, not grindy farming. That's actually a thing in this one. It turns out there's actually an underlying story in this game, and while I'm not going to go into detail for fear of ruining it for some people, I will say there are some really interesting characters in this game to meet, and if you're a lore nerd, you're gonna love who they are. Moving on, one of my favourite changes in Mists is the one that's been made to the character creation screen. Blizzard have opted for something that to me is very reminiscent of Terror or Guild Wars 2, and probably a load of other things. But I'm all for this because I prefer the layout and it just feels more streamlined and a lot better. Also, the addition of new armor sets in the character creation screen is a nice idea. Nobody wants to build their epic character for their epic adventure, for their epic journey, for their epic whatever, and have him just stood there in a crappy white plain robe. You want to see what he's going to look like when he's got a bit of flair. I mean, come on. You want to see his swagger. Now I know that we all love Pokemon. Don't lie to me, don't pretend you don't just to sound cool. You love it like the rest of us, you big giant nerd. So on that note, I give to you pet battles. There's no other way to say that. It is Pokemon, and that's why it's awesome. With a few exceptions, you can use just about any of your vanity pets to fight random critters or other people's pets in a 1v1 turn-based fight. As you win, your pet levels up, and every so often gains new abilities. Doesn't it sound a little bit familiar? Now for my favourite part of this expansion, your mounts, your pets, your titles, your achievements, mostly, are now account-wide. Not all of them, but goddamn this is the best thing in the world for someone who has 10 characters. No more having to go and get all of the same achievements on different characters or running a dungeon, getting a rare mount drop on an alt and not having it on my main. I am all for this and fully endorse this, the sexiest of changes. Blizzard, marry me. Okay, that's enough praise. It's time to see what's wrong with the game. To me, it seems like this expansion doesn't really offer enough for potentially new players aside from, pandas. I know the point of an expansion is to expand the content that's already there for the benefit of the current players, but still. I guess you could argue that Cataclysm gave new players enough to deal with, what with the whole tearing the world a new arsehole thing though. While I said earlier that I didn't really feel like I was grinding at all or suffering from quest fatigue, I did feel like some of the new zones were a bit bleh. And by that I mean, after the vibrant first and second area, you get sent somewhere that just reminds me of Zoldrak, which basically means I don't want to do anything there because it's miserable. Although I do get that you can't just have nice pretty looking areas all of the time. Also, as I mentioned earlier, the lack of a real endgame goal feels a bit strange, having gotten so used to there being something big at the end that we're all working towards. It just feels strange that I finished all of the zones and was just like, well, now what? It's a bit odd to say the least. Something that this expansion got me thinking about is how messed up the scaling is in WoW at the moment. Currently in Heroic Gear I'm seeing tanks with around 400,000 to 500,000 hit points, which with some mild assumption and clever thinking means that by the end of this expansion, tanks are going to be around 700,000 to 800,000 hit points, which is quite scary. Not as scary as when you start to think about the next expansion, which hopefully will be 10 levels to even it out to level 100 at least. Scary stuff. I mean, think of how much XP you'll need to level. That leads me nicely to my next point. This is a pretty short expansion in my opinion. It's only 5 levels over 5 zones plus a dedicated zone for level 90s to run and play in and do all the things. And when I was leveling, I was averaging 5 hours a level from 87 to 90. And I did every quest in every zone, achievements and everything. I mean, I feel like there could be more to it, but I just prefer big expansions, like the Burning Crusade. On a final note, I felt like it was hard to get my bearings when I hit level 90. I ended up in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, which is a beautiful area, and picked up about 10 different quests for 10 different factions and was just completely thrown for what to do really. It was a little bit daunting, but once I started doing all of the dailies I was back in familiar territory and was all fine again. But still, pacing I think. Okay, so look, this review is probably sounding a little bit biased at the moment, but what can I say? This expansion's amazing. It definitely competes with the Burning Crusade for the best WoW expansion in my books. I mean, if you left WoW because of boredom, then you should come back and give this a shot. If you're new to WoW, this is something for you to look forward to once you've gone through all of the other expansions. For any negative issue I've brought up during this review, it can all be expunged with this next sentence. There are bloody Pokemon battles. Thanks for watching guys. If you have any thoughts about the video or the game in general, then feel free to leave a comment below. You can also follow my rants over at TickleGames for Twitter, or facebook.com/TickleGamesOfficial. So yeah, thanks for watching, see you next time.